Let's take a look at how the groupings we made might be coded into HTML and which elements belong in each group to complete the structure of our page. I've opened a new project up in my editor, so I'm not using the project that has my site plan. I'm just practicing here. This is not the home page of my rafting site, but a completely different index.html page of another project. I've deleted out everything that Glitch had in the index.html page, and I'm starting from scratch here. In the home page of your rafting site, you will have some code to start with in your index.html that you won't need to delete. But this one I'm going to start from scratch. So how do we take this wireframe and actually create an HTML element, the HTML elements for our page? We need to start with the basic HTML shell or skeleton that every page uses. You can type these out, but I'm going to go to htmlshell.com and grab it quickly. I am going to click yes for the viewport meta tag, which gives us a new meta tag that allows our device to be a little more, or our page to be a little more responsive, no matter what device the user's looking at our page on. So I'm going to copy that. We'll talk more about the viewport another time. But I'll go ahead and paste that shell in, and now I've got a beginning of my page. I'll go ahead and quickly give it a more meaningful title here, wireframe to HTML, something like that. Whoops. All right, now remember, everything we want to show up in the page is within the body tag. So this is where we're going to start translating what's on the wireframe to what we want on this page. Starting at the top of the wireframe, we had that group that contains the logo and the navigation. That's not going to change from page to page. The semantic element that goes with this group is the header element. And then I can put everything inside the header in between those two. Okay, the next large group was the portion of the page that changed from page to page. This one happens to have a scroller banner and a product gallery. And so a good semantic element for that section would be main. And then this last bottom section here is the footer, and it has a good semantic tag of footer. And again, this footer tag remains the same from page to page within your website. Now, I don't need these empty lines in between, but I'm just doing that for ease of my typing inside of them. Okay, so now we can start adding elements within these three main groups. Notice how I've started indenting within the body, and we'll continue now indenting as we add nested elements to our code. What elements do we see inside of this header area? Looking at the wireframe, we have that logo, first of all, and then the navigation. We might want a holder for our logo, something to wrap around our logo. So I'm going to go ahead and use a div there because I can't think of a real semantic tag that might go with that. But since I might have a lot of different divs on my page as I am creating more elements, I'm going to give it a real meaningful class name of something like logo box. Then, of course, within that is where you would put the actual image of the logo. And I'm going to go ahead and use a placeholder image since I don't really have a logo at this point. And it's called loremflickr.com. And these last two numbers here can be any size of picture that you want. I'm just doing a small 50 by 50 pixel for the logo. And so let's just make sure our little logo is showing up here. And there we go. We'll call that a logo. Okay, so there we have the elements that make up the logo area. Okay, still within header, we're going to go ahead and start the for link navigation. The meaningful semantic tag that goes with a navigation is the nav tag. So everything within the nav tags will be the part of the navigation. Let's see, within the navigation, a common practice is to use the unordered list and then list items to list out all of the links. So we'll go ahead and have our anchor hypertext link within the link tag, and the hypertext reference there will be, for this first one, the home page, which is index.html. The content text of that tag will be home. And we'll go ahead and copy that 3 more times for the other 3 links. They obviously won't all go to index.html, so we're not sure what those pages are yet or what their content will be. So we'll go ahead, and just give them all a # for now, which means when they click on it, it really won't go anywhere. And we'll just call them page 1 and page 2 and page 3. Okay, so there we have the beginning, the whole header portion of our page with all the elements that we'll need completed within that part. All right, for good design, I would also like to place the anchor tag around the logo, the home tag, because when people click a logo, they do like to go to the home page. So I am going to wrap the image inside of an A tag, just so I've got that going on. All right. Let's go on to the next main group. Here is where all the content's going to change from page to page. So on this page, there's that banner scroller and a product gallery. So let's add those 2 groupings. And now we're inside of main. So I'm going to come in here. And I'll go ahead and use a div to hold the banner. Again, I can't think of a good semantic one that might fit there. And I'll give it a class of banner box. And of course, inside there, you're going to have the image tag, and then maybe whatever makes up this text, maybe an H2 and a paragraph would be inside there. The second section, I'm actually going to give it a section because it has more of a section of the page kind of meaning to me. Again, I can give it a class as well, maybe something like product gallery, something like that. And then inside that, of course, we would nest in there and put another image and maybe an H2 or an H3 and a paragraph for each one of those different 8 areas. So I won't finish out every single element here, but it gives you a good idea of which ones you might start using here. Now I could have easily used 2 sections. I could have used a section instead of a div here. It's not always set in stone which elements have to be the grouping element, but do refer back to your HTML tag list in W3 Schools for definitions on what logically goes with each of these grouping elements. So I'll let you finish up the images and headlines and paragraphs that will go into the banner box area, the gallery area, and then the footer as well. But I've shown you a good start of how you will add structure to a page using HTML. Remember, there is no CSS yet, so it's not going to be laid out like this wireframe. So if I look at this one again, and now that we've got our hypertext links in there, you'll see that it looks nothing like that. The logo's not centered, the links don't go out horizontally, there's bullet points by them. So this is not going to look like the wireframe. We are just simply using the wireframe to figure out which elements are going to be on our page, the proper structure for our page. And don't be discouraged if later you have to come back in and change some of the HTML. It will inevitably happen. But at this point, we should have a pretty good framework or a beginning of the framework for our page.